there, storytellers. Welcome back to my channel and welcome to day 2 of Vlogmas. Today's video, as you can tell, is going to be my November wrap-up. So let's talk about the books I read in November, or to be perfectly honest, the slight lack thereof. So for November, I totally focused on NaNoWriMo. I did put out some videos, so go check those out. But I spent a lot of my time focusing on writing, and I did vlog the NaNoWriMo process. You will be getting that vlog tomorrow. Let's get into my wrap-up for November. So the first book I started but did not quite finish in November was my reread of Fangirl by Rainbow Rowell. This is my third or fourth reread, I think, of Fangirl, and I absolutely love this story, which is why I was rereading it, but it's about a young girl named Kath who's a freshman in college and sort of her journey growing apart and with her sister, as well as growing in her confidence in herself and her abilities as a creative writer. I totally relate to Kath in so many ways. I relate, the inner college freshman in me relates to her in so many ways. Living vicariously through Kath seemed like a perfect thing for National Novel Writing Month as I was trying to write a novel. But because I've read it before and because I was doing other reading and audiobooks, I kind of just took it slow and steady and read it whenever I just wanted to be cozy and reading, but not necessarily have to focus my mind on a new story. So I haven't actually finished it yet. where am I? I'm on chapter 12. So I did not get very far, to say the least, but I do really love this story, and I will definitely probably keep rereading it, just at a much slower pace. The next book I finished in November was Queen of Volts by Amanda Foody, and I did do a 5x5 review of this book already on my channel, so go ahead and click the card up there if you want to see more in-depth thoughts about this novel, but just know that I love it. I feel like a lot of series and trilogies can run into the issue of wrapping things up in a way that doesn't feel satisfying, and I personally did not have that issue with this novel. Queen of Volts follows Ensalta and Levi Glacier in the City of Sin again. The city is throwing some of the biggest challenges they've had to face yet at them, and it is a wild ride. I feel like loose ends were tied up, questions were answered, and we still managed to get some extra information and extra characters thrown in sort of at the last minute that still managed to feel complete and satisfying, even though I would have loved to see more because I just loved this world so much. But I don't have any qualms with how it actually wrapped up, other than I just didn't want it to end. The third book that I finished in November was another reread, and I listened to it on the audiobook, and that is Carry On by Rainbow Rowell. So for those who haven't read Fangirl, Carry On follows Simon Snow and his roommate Baz and his best friend Penelope at the Watford School of Magic. Simon is the mage's heir. He's essentially the prophesied chosen one, and it's his job to save their magical world. In Fangirl, Simon Snow's stories sort of echo the Harry Potter stories in our world. It is a series of books about a prophesied chosen one in a magical school and his adventures with saving that world, as well as a school rivalry kind of thing. So in Fangirl, Carry On is the name of Kath's fanfiction of her in universe's sort of Harry Potter. But Rainbow Rowell gave us her interpretation of what Simon Snow's story should be, and it sort of picks up with that vibe of like the 8th and final story in the Simon Snow saga. It mentions moments and stuff that she hints at with snippets of what the Simon Snow series is in Kath's world, so that's always a fun sort of Easter egg crossover between the two, but I love Carry On. It has a pretty decent representation of characters of different races and sexualities. I can't speak to how accurate they are in terms of experiences lived by people with those actual identities, but it is something that is included and I think is pretty respectfully done. So that's something to note if you like to look for that in stories. But it's just an all-around fun, magical story about just two boys who are rivals who end up having to work together to sort of save their world, and it's just a fun ride. I very much recommend it. If you thought Carry On sounded great, then you're gonna be super interested in my next read, which was a reread of its sequel, also by Rainbow Rowell, called Wayward Sun. This one follows Simon and Baz after they're done with Watford School of Magics, after they sort of save the world of mages, and it's their journey sort of getting involved in another dangerous situation, another save the world kind of plot, but it also takes a really interesting look at what happens to the chosen one after they're done being the chosen one. It does try to examine sort of Simon's trauma. He's been the chosen one his entire life. He's gone through a ton of awful situations that take their toll on a person, and he hadn't had time to process them because the threats just kept on coming. But this takes a really decent look at Simon's mental state and how he used to deal with the trauma that he was experiencing and how he's forced to deal with it afterwards when he's no longer the chosen one, because the world that he was destined to save, the greatest mage he was destined to be, aren't really there for him anymore. That's not to say they're gone, and that's not to say Simon is powerless. He is still a rockin' badass character. Baz's snark is A+ through the roof. I love the two of them together. Their banter is so much fun, and I was very much satisfied with this as a sequel to Carry On, so I'm really glad I stumbled across these books when I did. I highly recommend either listening to the audiobooks or reading them. They're super fast, fun reads. The next book I finished in November was one I hadn't actually read before, thankfully, and that was Dear Justice by Nick Stone. Dear Justice is a sequel of sorts to her novel Dear Martin. Dear Justice follows another character, Quan, who is a friend of Justice's. You meet him briefly in Dear Martin, and you get to know him a lot better in Dear Justice. The novel follows Quan's point of view almost entirely, though it does throw in a few other characters, Justice being one of them. You get to see their friendship a little bit more from both sides, which is a really fun thing to include. Quan is dealing with the fact that he has past traumas in his life, and he's always tried to do the right thing and be the good guy, but he's been forced to make decisions that he personally feels he might not otherwise have had to make if he had a better situation. Quan is a young, caring, smart gentleman who is dealing with a justice system that is stacked against him from the start, and he's wrongfully incarcerated when we meet him at the start of this novel. Dear Justice takes a really frank but hopeful look at what a young man's life could look like if he's wrongfully incarcerated on behalf of someone who technically isn't a good guy, isn't putting him in the best situations, but is looking out for him in other ways. I say it's hopeful because Quan has friends fighting for him, friends like Justice, who is going to law school with other law students, who is willing to fight for somebody who is wrongfully accused and imprisoned for something, and it shows what can happen if you have somebody fighting on your side and how important it is just to have somebody fighting for you so that you can learn to fight for yourself again. I think you should definitely read Dear Martin and Dear Justice. They're both sort of similar but really different stories, and they're both so well done. And the last book I started in November but haven't quite finished was Daughter of the Burning City, also by Amanda Foody. Daughter of the Burning City follows a girl named Serena who works in a traveling circus city-state called Gomorrah, and she is an illusion worker. Serena makes illusions that are almost larger than life. She can make anything from something as small as a bug to something as large and complete as another being. In fact, she has made several family members for herself, and the story sort of kicks off with one of those family members being killed. Now, because these are technically illusions that Serena has created, she doesn't know how this is possible, and her adoptive father, the proprietor of Gomorrah, vows to help her along with a new boy in the city named Luca. I got to about to the halfway point on November 30th, right at the cutoff. I do really enjoy it so far. I think Amanda Foody's writing is just really gorgeous. We've started to hit some really interesting details and plot points, but nothing crazy has happened yet, nothing wildly crazy. You know, we haven't kicked off into the real drama of the story just yet. So I don't have full complete thoughts on it, but it is one I'm probably going to finish up very quickly in December so I can get to some of my holiday TBR reads. But that is it for this video. If you enjoyed it, let me know by leaving a like down below. And like I said, if you want to keep up with my NaNoWriMo vlog coming out tomorrow or any of my other upcoming Vlogmas videos, you should definitely hit that subscribe button and you should ring the little bell so that you don't miss a beat. I will see you guys tomorrow with a new one. Bye!